You're watching Suck Professor. Hello, everybody. It's me, Hank. I'm joined by
James.
So we're talking about the HTC Vive. We've both played it a good bit in the last week. We've had our hands on one for what? About a week now.
About a week and then maybe
And so we just want to give people our impressions, our first impressions, some random thoughts, some overall kind of ideas we've come across, and some things, positives, negatives. We have other videos that are going to go into more detail, though, too. So look for those in the description. So, James, you were crazy excited about this thing. And
right.
You bought it, what? Like, you paid for it a long time ago. Why were you so excited, though? Why did you order early?
Because there are two things I've wanted since I was about 5 years old. One of them is a hoverboard, which I've given up on after seeing Back to the Future. And the second one was virtual reality.
Wow.
And I finally have my hands on one of the two.
Yes. I share that. I've always wanted to escape reality. Mm-hmm. And I've always wanted a hoverboard, but with wheels. So I'm actually living in a fantasy land right now. It's my dreams have come true. And so finally it's here. There's, and okay. Did you test it before you paid for it?
No, I never got a chance.
So hold on. Your first time trying one on a headset was after it arrived?
Yes, I'd never done Google Cardboard. I'd never done the Samsung smartphone type of VR.
The Virtua Boy?
Yeah, Virtual Boy. I hadn't even done that. I mean, that's a piece of crap, and I haven't even done that.
Okay.
So, I haven't even seen a 3D TV.
All right, so then what did you think when you put it on? What was your first impression?
Okay, my first impression was actually a horrible one, but not because the Vive is bad. The Vive is not bad. It was because I screwed up at first.
Okay.
And what happened was, the first thing that happened is I set the Vive up. I put my the lighthouses in the corner.
Yeah.
And immediately it was so blurry I couldn't even tell what I was looking at. And that was because the left eye hadn't illuminated yet. Oh. I was only getting one eye.
Wow.
So I thought, oh great, this is defective. It's broken.
Right.
Everything's wrong. So I unplugged the cords, replugged them back in. Other eye came on, everything was good, jumped into the lab.
Okay.
The problem is that my entire field of vision was nothing but these very distinct, dark, rainbow-colored, circular impressions over top of the image. Uh-huh. And I was immediately thinking, oh crap, is this how it is? Is this do I have to get used to this? Is this the God rays that people were talking about? Is this the screen door effect that people have been talking about? And I was really disenchanted. My heart sank when I saw that, because to me, that was an immersion killer. That was not acceptable. I was ready to throw it back in the box and ship it back to HTC.
Well, good thing you gave it you persisted through the problem.
I basically said,
what mistake did you make?
I didn't reboot after setting it up.
That's it?
It was a software glitch. Oh. So that was not the real experience.
So the lighthouses were in the right spot.
Yeah, everything was good, but I just hadn't rebooted and given a chance for the software and the hardware to communicate properly. So as soon as I did that and I put it back on expecting nothing, and I saw how it should be, then the wow factor kicked in, and I was so thrilled.
So right away, though, you were like, whoa.
Right away. I was like, oh, thank God, this horrible stuff I just saw is gone.
What was the first game you played?
The first thing
the lab?
The first thing I did was load into the lab. And that's
just like a kind of a sort of a demo room with different little stations that sort of load separate programs to show off a certain type of thing. Right. Some are a little more interactive than others.
Yeah, and the first thing I immediately noticed was like, okay, I see what they talk about in terms of the screen door effect. I can see how this is not HD resolution. This is clearly not 4K. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
If you look for it, you can notice it, and this is the most cliche thing to say because everyone says it, is that once you spend a couple minutes in VR, your mind accepts it. It goes away. It's still there, but you're not focusing on it.
Right.
And you're just lost in the immersion of the new world that you're in. So it's not that big an issue, although the potential for it being 4K in the coming years, or whatever K it's going to be when it eventually has the hardware that's more powerful enough that can actually process it, that's so exciting.
Yes. I hope we get all the Ks.
Yeah.
So my first time... Oh, okay, I have a bow in my hand now. Well, shit, I can't do left-handed bow. Right for my vision, I have an arrow and a bow. And wow, it's fast, too. It's really responsive. So I feel like I'm pointing an arrow right at you.
You are.
All right, so now I just start shooting shit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's knocked. Nice. I feel something in my hand.
Yeah, it's tension.
How does it feel like tension?
It's got a little vibrate thing in there, so it creates that
But it literally
sensation.
feels a little like tension.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Holy shit! Boom! Ain't not gonna happen. Oh shit. Alright. James, you are going to have a great ass in about 3 weeks.
You're drinking it.
Oh. It's so weird, man. This is so fucking crazy.
Look behind you.
Oh, yeah. I'm on like an old shit. Holy shit! What the fuck? It's an old shit. Wow. I must look so stupid to you. Just a guy. Oh, what the fuck is this? A whale? It's so big! Shoot him! Oh, Jesus. Holy shit. It's just crazy. I can't believe how realistic it feels. Like, it feels amazing. It's an otherworldly feeling. It's so disorienting to lose the part of your brain that connects your eyes with where you are. Mm-hmm. You know, I instantly, that was what's so crazy about it, is that it's like a movie moment where it's like, okay, here we go, and it's like, and like you pull the things down over your eyes, and all of a sudden you completely lose your orientation about the room you're standing in. You have no idea what directions are, and you are instantly just like in utter awe. That was how it was for me. We're both big gaming nerds.
Oh yeah.
So this is like, like super duper heroin for some junkies. But I was blown away. I had my expectations were like, oh, it's gonna be gimmicky. I bet it's gonna be kind of fun. I'll be glad to try it out. We'll see how it is. I hear people can get nauseous. I'm not sure if that's a thing. I've heard various responses to people who have tested this, or from people who have tested this on radio show or podcasts and shit. Right. And then, but I was completely blown away. And then you loaded up that arrow shooting game. Oh yeah. So I'm picking up the arrow, and I switch. And like what really stood out, what impressed me, and was how responsive it is. Like, the thing about our own brain is that we can hold your hand out in front of you and hold your palm down to the ground, hold your hand flat, and move your hand back and forth. And at whatever speed you can do that, it seems to track that. And so you don't that's not immersion breaking. Right.
Immersion is all about feeling real, having things that you would do in reality translate one-to-one perfectly in the game.
Or minimizing things that would take you out. Too,
right,
like
frame rate stutters and things like that. Yeah. And when your hands are moving in the game in the same way that they would move in reality without any sort of delay or stutter, that's what tricks your brain into thinking, I'm really here.
In the same way that you intuitively understand that they move since you've been a 2-year-old moving your body around. And I say 2 because your memories don't form when you're before.
I didn't find my hands until I was 5.
Yeah, mine didn't grow in until puberty. So right away, I was completely taken by it. And, it's a little tricky. You kind of got to get used to pressing the buttons. I don't think the controllers are as well designed as they should be. I'm expecting them to improve as different generations come online. They still work great, and they feel solid, and they, the trigger's fine. But the way the thumb pad, and it's weird when you don't see your hands when you look down, and you don't see your feet, which is fine, and that's kind of but it's really unnerving.
Right,
in a way.
Working on that.
Yeah, and these are all sorts of things. So like you kind of. Man, but that's what really blew me away, was just mostly what's happening right now is incredible. And we're really just at a demo phase because developers haven't really thrown their weight into it yet.
We're kind of in the stone age of commercial VR adaptations.
Yeah, because the incentive and the market has to be proven first in order to generate the incentive for big developers to put resources into it.
Exactly. AAA developers are not going to throw money at something when your player base or your potential game base is so small. Yeah. And I think they've calculated I think as of now, there's about 50,000 units in circulation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
of the Vive or of all?
Of the
VR?
Vive. Okay. So they've got a lot more pumping out right now.
I've been telling girls at the bar there's only about 3,000.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
They can believe that.
Hey, it's been working.
But that's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah, that's nothing. Yeah. And they want to see enthusiasm. They want to know it's not a gimmick. It's not just going to be a fad, a 2016 fad. I don't believe it is. Yeah. It might end up being a niche, and who knows how sizable. But I think there's applications for industrial stuff, and there's applications
for
training and simulation,
flight simulators,
for all
combat simulations,
and not games. We're talking about just like training things and other ways that other industries can take on
medical applications.
Yeah, pornography. That's
can
already.
You imagine being a student and learning how to do your first colonoscopy with VR?
Yeah, I got to do my practice colonoscopies on local hobos down at the park. Well, after they pass out. So but what excites me most about it is the potential. I'm so excited about it. I was saying, like, we movies and video games and books and anything that's made to be like a consumer entertainment product, I should say. We do a great job with all that stuff given the parameters of those mediums. And this, to me, feels like not just a new TV screen. You know what I mean? It's not just like a fancier, bigger 4K where, they're going to still do movies in that. It's just going to, you're going to see the newscaster's pimples now because it's sharper or something. This feels like something, a whole nother, but just the storytelling potential. And I mean that from like a gaming and a movie and an interactive story, like, because the way it just pulls you in so much, and there's like just looking at like the Portal demo is amazing. The way the robot comes apart, and I didn't care about solving the puzzle. You know, I just want to sit there, and when you move your head to the left to look at the thing from the side, just like you would if you were looking at something in the real world, it feels and responds exactly the way you're used to, which is why it's so immersive. Yeah. And I'm just hoping that it becomes a big market, and that developers, because there's a lot of really creative and smart and brilliant people in the world that are going to get their hands on this thing, and they're going to come up with stuff that we can't even imagine. You know, that's so cool. That's where I get really excited.
Yeah, and one of the cool things I've noticed in playing it myself and watching other people play it is that when you're in a virtual universe or a room and there is a table with a coffee mug on it and you want to pick it up, you can completely move your hand through the coffee mug. You can move it through the table. Yeah. You can stick your head through a wall. You can do things that you can't do in reality, but instinctively, you're so fooled that it's a real room that you stop your hand before you get to the cup and you grip. You don't treat it like a world that you need to break. You treat it like a world that's actually living and breathing in front of you. Yeah. And people just subconsciously behave correctly in the environment.
And then you're immediately confused as to why this coffee mug was a hologram that your hand went right through.
And why you're now face down on the ground because you tried to lean on the table as you reached for something.
Yeah, like I was playing Minecraft, I think. Is that a mod?
That's a mod for Minecraft.
Okay, so you had it hooked up. Really works cool, you know, and that's the game. It's not even designed for this. Like, it'll be incredible when they actually really, really tune it properly. So anyway, I was on my knees or something, and I was trying to get up, and there was a block next to me, and I saw it out of the corner, and I kind of like put my hand on it as if I was standing up next to the bed, and you put your hand on the bed to push yourself up. And of course, I didn't have any. There was no block there in real life, so we're still pretty far from Star Trek holodeck stuff. Yeah. And the chaperone makes you feel like the holodeck because of this. Yeah. That's the grid border thing that encompasses you, and you set the parameters for that so you can know that you're about to run into your own wall. Any other thoughts though? I don't want to wrap it up.
What did you feel like when you first put the headset on and you noticed that your vision was going blurry when your eye tracked away from the focal point?
Okay, so the focal point, to be clear, is the middle of the lens.
It's referred to the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So for me, I've worn contact lenses most of my life. And whenever my vision goes blurry...
Is that why you have Jodie Foster in your eyes?
Yes.
Get it?
Not contact, yeah. So I've worn panic rooms most of my life. And
well done.
Whenever my vision goes blurry, I immediately, instinctively interpret that as being a problem with my contact lens. So I want to put eye drops in, I want to adjust it, I want to do something like that. Because that's basically a red flag. Oops, something's wrong, got to fix that.
Yeah.
And as human beings... we are not born like owls. We don't turn our heads naturally to look in different directions. Yeah. We turn our heads and we move our eyeballs inside our heads.
Yeah.
So in virtual reality, it doesn't work that way, at least not yet, because it tries to render the entire field of view at the same time, I believe is the case. But it can only really render the center part of where your head is currently pointed.
Right. So if you imagine like a cone emerging from your eye and just get it in, it's straight out from your eye.
Yeah, and your eye does the same thing. Your eye only focuses on a single focal point at a given time.
About 3 degrees of vision is in focus.
So what I hear is that what I experience is that when you try and move your eye in VR, your field of view, the exterior part of your field of view goes into a blurry.
Yeah.
So you've got to train yourself to move your head rather than move your eyes.
Right.
But I've heard that they're working on, and I don't know how far along this is, but they're working on positional eye tracking. So what that means is that if the computer is rendering only what you're focusing on by tracking your actual eye, that means it doesn't need to render the parts of your vision that you're not looking at, that your eye is not focusing on anyway. So by doing that, you're saving processing power on a massive scale.
And therefore upping the frame rate.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're being much more efficient in what kind of graphics and fidelity you can push out.
Okay.
And you'll notice no difference, because if your eye's not naturally focusing on it, who cares if the computer's not rendering it?
Of course.
Because you don't notice that.
Yeah. And it's probably more natural, more of a mimic to the way that we really function intuitively. That's a lot of the sum we could talk about in the positives and negatives video discussion we're going to do. I didn't find that too much of a flaw. I found myself pretty naturally just learning to move your head more. It's kind of, human beings are pretty adaptable. That's one thing that is, the biggest, then we'll probably, this is not really the purview of first impressions, but the nausea factor. Only on the roller coasters did I feel anything close to that.
Go on. Oh, God! I can't do this. Oh, my God. Holy shit. Okay, did you get sick doing this? There's no way this can't make you sick.
It can. If you hold down like maximum speed the whole time, you'll see what I mean about.
I'm not even that prone to seasickness, but
It's getting to you?
yeah. I really almost puked on that first one.
I have a pretty high tolerance, but I could imagine that's going to create trouble. If someone is on a low threshold for that sort of thing, this might not be a product that they can use. But again, it's so new, and they're going to do a lot. This development process is going to happen much faster than the Stone Age to the email age. It's going to happen within a few months or years or something. So we're okay on there.
And on the whole nausea factor, I mean, that is inherent to VR, but it's more on the developer side, I think. Has the game developed itself in a way that causes eye strain or motion sickness, or because basically
well, we can get into a lot more detail in the other
but in terms of locomotion, teleporting around, perfectly fine. But I played one game where it wasn't a teleportation deal, and it wasn't
a controller
scale. It was an Xbox One controller.
Okay.
And within about 20 seconds to a minute, I was ready to take the headset off. I was approaching Barf Town.
Oh, all right.
It was bad.
That would be a fun game, though, Barf Town.
It was not a good experience.
Yeah.
So I've seen both sides of it. I see why developers probably have leaned more towards the teleporting factor, because it becomes very apparent that...
if that's what's causing that.
It seemed to be because when I was sitting still, it wasn't bothering me at all. But as soon as I started moving, something about it triggered a very potent sense of nausea.
All right, cool. Well, let's talk about that kind of stuff in another video, because this is about first impressions. Just to summarize, I'm just so blown away. It exceeded all my expectations, and I'm very excited about where this is going to go. I'm so much so that I was even willing to embarrass myself by being in the videos that we put up, of me going, "Wow!" it's so,
with a towel wrapped around.
With a towel wrapped around. The sweat. Okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. It's like, I can't. I'm just gonna keep repeating myself how impressive it is. So anyway, anything else impression wise?
No,
you're happy. You're happy you bought it.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no regrets. It's something I feel like I will be using constantly, every week, every day. I still want
until the next version comes out.
Right, and then I'll just launch it out of the catapult. But it's something that I continuously want to revisit, that I want to experience again. Even things I've already done, I still want to go back and re-experience it.
Yeah. So, okay, guys. Well, thanks for listening. We hope you learned or enjoyed it or whatever you're supposed to do. Check out our other discussion videos. There'll be links in the description. And we appreciate you finding the channel. Hit that like button, subscribe if you don't mind, or don't. That's also totally okay. Have a good day, and I'll see you in virtual reality.
Holy shit! It's like I'm brushing my teeth in a whole different world. Oh my God!